The story of Buster Douglas is one of the most unbelievable rises in boxing history. But what followed after his victory over Mike Tyson is even more shocking and far more heartbreaking. Most fans remember the night he shocked the world in Tokyo. They remember the moment he did what no one thought was humanly possible, knocking out the most feared man on the planet. But what they don't know is the truth about what happened next. The inner collapse, the pain, the personal tragedy, and the long fall from glory that turned one of boxing's greatest underdog stories into one of its saddest cautionary tales. This is the painful reality of Buster Douglas after Tyson, a story that will completely change the way you see the man behind the miracle. When James Buster Douglas stepped into the ring with Mike Tyson on February 11, 1990, he was a 42-1 underdog, considered nothing more than a warm-up fight for the champion. Tyson was undefeated, terrifying, and destroying everyone in front of him. Douglas had recently lost his mother, and many believed he wasn't mentally or emotionally ready for the fight. But what no one knew at the time was that this tragedy lit a fire inside him. His mother's death pushed him to train harder than ever, to fight with a level of heart and focus nobody had ever seen from him. That night in Tokyo, Douglas boxed perfectly. Sharp jab, great movement, a fearless attitude. And when he stopped Tyson in the 10th round, the world witnessed the greatest upset in sports history. Overnight, he went from an overlooked contender to the heavyweight champion of the world. But becoming champion wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a difficult and painful new chapter. The world expected Douglas to continue his Cinderella story and dominate the division. But the truth is, he wasn't prepared for the sudden fame, pressure, and expectations that came with the title. Overnight, he went from a humble fighter to a global superstar. Sponsors, media, appearances, and money came at him faster than he could process. He gained weight. His motivation faded. The discipline he showed for Tyson slowly disappeared. For years, he had dreamed of beating Tyson, but he hadn't prepared for what came afterward. Without a clear sense of purpose, Douglas quickly lost control of his physical conditioning, his training, and his focus. Just 8 months after the greatest moment of his career, Buster stepped into the ring with Evander Holyfield to make his first title defense. By that time, he was out of shape, overweight, and mentally unprepared. Many insiders say he barely trained. The man who shocked the world against Tyson came into the fight at a career-high weight, and the result was brutal. Holyfield knocked him out in the 3rd round with a single right hand. With that punch, the fairy tale ended. His championship reign lasted only 226 days, the second shortest in heavyweight history. Just like that, Buster Douglas went from the top of the world to the bottom of the division. What followed was even tougher. After losing the title, Douglas completely stepped away from boxing. His lifestyle spiraled out of control. He gained enormous amounts of weight, at one point exceeding 400 pounds. The sudden loss of fame, money, and purpose hit him harder than any punch he ever took in the ring. His health began to deteriorate rapidly. In the mid-1990s, he slipped into a diabetic coma caused by severe weight gain and uncontrolled blood sugar. Doctors told him he was dangerously close to dying and might not survive the night. That moment became a harsh wake-up call, a near-death event that finally forced him to confront the reality his life had become. After coming out of the coma, Douglas decided to turn his life around. Slowly, painfully, he began losing weight, exercising again, and rebuilding his health. And in 1996, 6 years after the Holyfield fight, he shocked the boxing world a second time. Not with an upset victory, but by announcing a comeback. He returned to the ring in small venues, fighting lower-level opponents. The boxing world had mixed feelings. Some cheered for him, others accused him of chasing money. But Douglas wasn't trying to reclaim Tyson glory. He was trying to prove to himself that he wasn't done, that he still had the heart of a fighter. He won several comeback fights, showing flashes of the old skills. But the truth is, he never returned to world-class level. His speed, timing, and sharpness from the Tyson fight never fully returned. Age and past weight issues had taken their toll. In 1998, his comeback finally ended. He retired from boxing with a record of 38 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw. But retirement brought new challenges. The fame was gone. The money was much smaller than people imagine. And despite being the author of the biggest upset in sports history, Douglas found himself living a quiet, humble life in Columbus, Ohio. There were no massive sponsorships, no huge television deals, no Hollywood movies. His story, as iconic as it was, didn't translate into financial security. Buster Douglas lived like an ordinary man, not like a former world champion who beat the most feared fighter alive. In the years that followed, he stayed connected to boxing, coaching young fighters, speaking at events, and sharing the lessons he learned about discipline, tragedy, and responsibility. But he also opened up about the mental and emotional struggles he battled for decades. The pressure after the Tyson fight, the weight issues, the depression, the loss of identity after Holyfield. Unlike many legends, Douglas was honest about his flaws and mistakes. He admitted he didn't handle fame well. He admitted he wasn't ready for the responsibilities of being champion. And he admitted that the victory over Tyson, while legendary, came with a price he didn't expect. What makes Buster Douglas's story so powerful is not just the miracle in Tokyo. It's the humanity of everything that came after. The world saw the knockout, but they didn't see the battles he fought outside the ring. The loss of his mother, the weight gain, the coma, the self-doubt, and the struggle to find meaning after his greatest triumph. While others became legends through long reigns and multiple titles, Douglas became a legend through one perfect night, and then spent years trying to live with everything that came with it. His journey is a reminder that becoming champion is not the hardest part. Staying champion, mentally, emotionally, and physically, is where the real test lies. Today, Buster Douglas is in a much healthier place. He has rebuilt his life, lost weight, and found peace in teaching and mentoring others. He embraces the fact that he shocked the world and created one of the most iconic moments in sports history. But he also embraces the lessons of what happened afterward. Lessons about responsibility, discipline, and the fragile nature of success. And although the world often focuses only on what happened in the ring, the real story of Buster Douglas is about what happened after. The struggle to deal with fame, the fight for his life, and the journey toward redemption and peace. In the end, the painful reality of Buster Douglas after Tyson isn't just a tragedy. It's a deeply human story about rising, falling, and rising again. His name will forever be attached to the greatest upset in sports history. But behind that moment is a man who lived through extraordinary highs and devastating lows. And while he may have lost the title quickly, he gained something far more meaningful. The chance to change his life, rebuild himself, and prove that even after hitting rock bottom, there is always a way back.